Remember when you first heard that there was going to be a new Lord of the Rings online class? And then do you remember when you heard that it was going to be a Brawler? A class that forgoes weapons in exchange for fists? Yes, it was going to be a Lotro class that chooses to punch its opponents and throw cups of ale like some barroom tussler. Sounded like fun, right? But was it true to lore? Could a weaponless class really be effective in Middle-earth? What are the class lines all about? The traits? Is it an effective solo and group class? Well, I set out to find out. I went about learning everything that I can about the Brawler, playing it quite a long time now, and I'm going to answer those questions and more in this Lotro Brawler review video. Okay, here we go. Let's first address the popular complaint about Brawler when it was first announced. Many were perturbed as to the lore of the Brawler. The complaint was that it shouldn't really allow an entire class devoted to a loreless or minimal lore Lord of the Rings references. Well, there actually is some lore devoted to a Brawler. I've got two words for you. Helm, Hammerhand. It sounds like three words, but it's Hammerhand is one word. It's a name. It's a reference to a guy in Lord of the Rings. Helm Hammerhand was the 9th king of Rohan. Helm Hammerhand was called Hammerhand because he would often fight barehanded in battle, including one of the sieges in Helm's Deep. So there is some lore dedicated to Brawler. Now, is there enough to justify an entire class of bare-knuckle brawlers? Well, if the class is good, I for one can forgive the liberties. And I'll say up front, the class is good. Not only is it good, but it's a pantload of fun. The Brawler is a heavy armor melee class that focuses on dealing damage and tanking. Now, conceptually, the Brawler uses fisticuffs and battle gauntlets rather than traditional weapons, as we had mentioned. In addition to tanking and DPS, the Brawler has a number of buffs available to improve the fighting prowess, the survivability of not only themselves but also those that are grouped with them. Brawlers utilize we'll just call them a currency that's called metal. And that metal builds up over time and then is spent to use more damaging attacks and abilities. More metal also increases your overall DPS. The preferred stat of a Brawler is Might, which when increased improves the Brawler's physical mastery in addition to the parry and evade stats. Of note is that according to Lotro Wiki, Brawlers also get the highest return on vitality stat, meaning a higher morale pull is an important part of the class. Finally, Brawlers use setup and finisher attacks to buff themselves and debuff enemies. I decided to use a Hobbit as my Brawler of choice. It doesn't really matter what race you use, they all have some benefit. Really though, the main reason why I chose a Hobbit is because it's so over-the-top ridiculous that I thought I'd have some fun accentuating that ridiculousness. I mean, imagine a 4-foot-tall Hobbit that's used to gathering potatoes, and that Hobbit's just punching 4 or 5 6-foot humans in the Adam's apple. Ridiculous, and I love it. But speaking of punching, let's discuss the types of attacks that a Brawler uses. When opening your skills panel, you'll see that the Brawler attacks are categorized differently. This isn't at all obvious, but it's important to using certain things like innate strength, which is a passive buff. There's heavy attacks, balanced attacks, and quick attacks. Heavy attacks increase critical rating or mitigation, balanced attacks increases parry or finesse, and quick attacks increase DPS or threat. Brawlers have an incredible amount of skills and abilities to use. This isn't a how-to guide, so I'll save the breakdown of those skills and rotations for my how-to guide. I'll wait until I'm completely leveled and have some raids under my belt before I do that, but I'd like to discuss the traits, the color lines, if you will. It's important to understand these from the get-go, so let's discuss them just a little bit. I'm going to let the devs do the talking on this one. The devs are quoted to saying that the traits of brawlers, they have 2 trait trees to specialize in, along with a 3rd general trait to provide additional flexibility and benefits. One of them is the fulcrum, which is blue. The fulcrum focuses on defense and debuffs and offers ways to increase your vitality, lower your enemy's attack speed, and buff your critical rating, and more. The maelstrom, red. The maelstrom focuses on the chaos of battle to increase damage dealt and more. The offense-focused trait tree increases your critical chance, setup skill damage, might, and acquisition of metal. The fundament, yellow, that is a trait tree that can be specialized into. This tree offers benefits that complement both the fulcrum and the maelstrom. Spending points into the fundament offers benefits such as increased metal generation, enemy debuffs, and hitting more targets with your area of effect skills. Unquote. That's kind of the nitty and the gritty, so let's break this down just a little bit. I talked about what the Brawler is all about. I talked a little bit about my thoughts. I said that it's a boatload of fun, but let's discuss what exactly makes me enjoy this class so much. Right from the get-go, you realize that they spend lots of time making the Brawler appealing. From the initial outfit to the animations, it looks incredible. I have an absolute blast just pushing buttons, because whatever follows after you push that button is awesome. The fighting animations, they're incredible. They all raise your adrenaline. Truly, all of them. From the beginning, when you start to metal up the abilities, to the finishing abilities, the animations are fluid and just straight up enjoyable. The sounds are fun as well. The hurl object ability is fast and fun. I just love that it emphasizes throwing a mug of ale. Everything about the class just screams fun. Now, fun is, well, fun, but it doesn't win you a fight. How about its viability in battle? Well, it would be hard-pressed to be defeated if measured on sheer damage per second. Brawler is a very powerful solo class. I don't have enough experience in groups to give it a pass or fail as a tank, so I'll leave that for my Brawler guide later on down the line. But at the end of the day, this class absolutely rocks. That's it. That's my Brawler review. If you liked it, like it. If you really like it, maybe hit subscribe for a large catalog of Lotro videos already made and weekly Lotro videos going forward. I am Joshua with Weird Gaming Adventure, and we at Weird Gaming Adventure, we love you in a weird way. We'll see you in the next video, my kin.